think I'm going to come at this from a decidedly glass half empty perspective. The opinion that the Ravens should be very, very thankful to the NFL schedule makers for setting them up with this opponent week one at home. This is a weak opponent. They were very fortunate that this game was on their schedule in the first week. I'll speak a little bit on the injuries. Have not heard a word. Perhaps you can tell me about Linderbaum or Stanley or Marcus Williams or the severity of their injuries. I'll say this, Linderbaum's injury did look bad, at least on film. That's how it appeared. Dobbins, according to reports, tore his Achilles. He's out. He's done for the year. I have to say, this does not give me pleasure, but I saw this coming. It does not surprise me one bit that he was injured the first week of the year, and that's all I'll say on that. I don't know what that means for the Ravens running back room, who they'll bring up. As far as the run game in this game, I thought it was rather nondescript, had very little so far as identity, except in the red zone. I thought they were excellent running the football in the red zone. The design of the plays was great, and the backs ran with a lot of desire in the red zone. It's pretty apparent to me that the Ravens miss someone like Mark Andrews, that in particular Lamar misses Mark. I have to say I expected a lot more out of the tight ends, both Likely and Kolar. I don't know if that's by their usage, although I will say Kolar, who I am a big fan of, should not have dropped that football. There's no excuse for him to be looking at the defender and worrying about getting hit there. No excuse for that. I thought Likely looked slow in the offense today, and he is not slow. They were not involved to speak of in the game plan, or it didn't appear that way. That was disappointing that you couldn't get more out of the tight end position. I don't know if you would use the word rusty to describe Lamar, but he looked pretty average today. May have had 3 turnovers if someone hadn't fallen on that football when he was carrying it rather loosely. Certainly the interception was terrible, and there's no excuse for turning the football over down there. Not sure what happened on the fumble later in the game. I believe he dropped the football. Not sure about that. It appeared that Hill may have hit it, just not sure. But you're looking at 3 times, if you count the pick, where the ball's on the ground or the ball's being turned over. However you want to put that. Just not a good game overall. Perhaps an average game. That's not good enough. I suspect you'll find out that a lot of the players who sat out the preseason or didn't play in the preseason were rusty, if you want to use that word. I saw the stats for Joe Burrow. They were just horrendous. 80 yards through the air on 31 attempts, I think it was. So measured against that performance, I'd say that the Ravens offense did well today. One play in particular that I think exemplifies how poor the Ravens were in terms of execution, or how apparent it is that they have a long way to go in protection and in execution. There was a sack, 3rd and 10 call. I think it's on our screen, that image right there. And there's a weak side blitz where number 5, I believe it was, comes down to the line of scrimmage off the corner or off the slot. About 10 seconds to go on the play clock. The quarterback needs to see that. The line needs to adjust to that. And there needs to be a built-in hot on this particular route. As I said, I thought Likely was sluggish today. You can see him as the number 3 receiver at the top of your screen. He has a step off the ball on one of the dropping linebackers. There's a lot of pressure in Lamar's face. But there should be a built-in hot or a built-in hitch against off coverage. You got to move the chains when you get beat by the blitz. You still got to move the chains, get the ball out. Now to the offensive lines, very interesting. Linderbaum snaps the football and nobody moves. Nobody on the offensive line moves. In particular, Moses is flat-footed and the left guard, Simpson, is beaten to his inside. Moses is beaten outside. Nobody gets off the football. So you get unabated pressure outs on both edges. I think this is an area that needs improvement, both in calling out these pressures, scheming up protection, and scheming up hots. And this is an issue moving forward. The defense, I think, will get a lot of accolades, but as I said before, they were playing a poor opponent today, very poor opponent. And there was one point in time where they gave up nearly a 9-minute drive, taking up 2/3 of a quarter, where this explosive offense, the Ravens' potentially explosive offense, is just sitting there. That's not good defense, not against this team, not against any team. You give up 3 points. 8 minutes and 54 seconds was the length of that drive. Several third down conversions. It's just not going to be good enough. That means coverage and or pressure is breaking down on those third downs. That can't happen. You got to get off the field. Ojabo getting that sack toward the end. Clearly that's him taking advantage of and exploiting a weaker opponent. But that guy gets the football out. That guy's just got a hammer and a nose for the football. So that is a positive step. I thought Clowney, Matabike played well today. I love to see the success of Ardarius Washington. He's one of my favorite players. Have been big on him since he came out of college. So it's great. Loved seeing him get that sack. My hope is to really get into pass game concepts, route combinations, try to identify them and express them to you through this week as best I can. I want to look at the Ravens' split field coverages, see if I can do the same. And perhaps even more importantly, I want to look at the Bengals from this week, see how they reacted to Cleveland in different sets, what their secondary looks like, see if we might get a sense of how they might approach the Ravens. I suspect you'll see the Ravens have a different game plan every week. No designed runs for Lamar. That may change. You may see none this week and 6 next week. I'll close out on a positive, albeit an obvious one. The Ravens have at least 2 star receivers. I thought Bateman looked great today. Zay Flowers looked very good after the catch in particular. And the trio with Odell Beckham Jr. And with a returning Mark Andrews at tight end are a quartet to be reckoned with.